Let me ask you a question that's going to change how you think about money forever. If I woke up tomorrow with absolutely nothing, no money, no assets, no connections, just the knowledge in my head and the clothes on my back, what would I do? How would I rebuild my fortune from scratch in today's economy? This isn't some theoretical exercise. This is the exact plan I would execute, step by step, day by day, if I had to start over with $0 in 2026. And I'm going to give you this entire blueprint for free because I want you to understand that building wealth isn't about luck or timing or having rich parents. It's about following a proven system that works regardless of your starting point. But before I dive into the specifics, let me tell you why this plan is different from everything else you've heard. Most people who talk about building wealth from nothing are either lying about their starting point or they're giving you advice that worked 20 years ago but doesn't work today. The economy has changed. Technology has changed. The opportunities have changed. What I'm going to share with you is a plan designed specifically for the economic reality of 2026. It takes into account artificial intelligence, remote work, global markets, cryptocurrency, social media, and all the other forces that are reshaping how wealth is created in the modern world. This isn't your grandfather's plan for getting rich. This is the future of wealth building. If you're serious about changing your financial life, if you're tired of making excuses and ready to start making money, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to reveal could be the most valuable information you'll ever receive, and I'm only sharing it once. The first thing I would do, and this might surprise you, is not what most people think. I wouldn't immediately start looking for a job or trying to start a business. I would spend the first week doing something that most people never do. I would audit my skills, my knowledge, and my personal situation to understand exactly what assets I really have. See, when people say they have nothing, they're usually wrong. They have skills they don't recognize. They have knowledge they don't value. They have relationships they don't leverage. They have opportunities they don't see. The difference between successful people and everyone else isn't that successful people have more resources. It's that they recognize and utilize the resources they already have. So here's how I would start this audit. First, I would list every skill I have that other people would pay money for, not just obvious skills like accounting or programming, but everything. Can I write clearly? Can I explain complex topics simply? Can I organize information? Can I solve problems? Can I manage projects? Can I teach others? Most people dramatically undervalue their skills because they think everyone can do what they can do. Wrong. Every skill you have is valuable to someone. The key is identifying which skills are most valuable in today's economy and figuring out how to monetize them quickly. Second, I would identify every piece of knowledge I have that gives me an advantage over other people. What do I know about specific industries, technologies, markets, or trends that most people don't know? What insights do I have from my education, work experience, or life experience that could be valuable to others? Knowledge is the ultimate asset because it can't be taken away from you. It doesn't depreciate, and it can be monetized in multiple ways simultaneously. But most people never inventory their knowledge assets or think strategically about how to leverage them. Third, I would map out every relationship I have that could potentially help me generate income or opportunities. Not to use people, but to understand my network and how I might provide value to others in ways that also benefit me. Who do I know? What do they do? What problems do they have that I might be able to solve? After completing this audit, I would have a clear picture of my actual starting position, and I guarantee you it wouldn't really be zero. Nobody who has lived in the modern world and developed basic adult skills actually starts from zero. They just don't know how to value and leverage what they have. The second thing I would do is something that goes against every piece of conventional wisdom you've ever heard about building wealth. I would not focus on saving money or cutting expenses. I would focus exclusively on increasing income as rapidly as possible. Here's why. When you're starting from zero or close to zero, your biggest constraint isn't spending, it's earning. Cutting $100 a month from your expenses might feel good, but increasing your income by $1,000 a month changes your entire life trajectory. And in today's economy, increasing income is actually easier than most people think. But you have to approach it strategically. You can't just work harder at your current job and hope for a raise. You have to think like an entrepreneur, even if you're working for someone else. You have to identify where value is being created in the economy and position yourself to capture some of that value. So here's my income acceleration strategy. I would start with what I call the immediate income track. This is about generating cash flow as quickly as possible within the first 30 days. I'm talking about freelance work, consulting, gig economy jobs, anything that can produce income immediately while I build toward bigger opportunities. But I wouldn't just take any gig work. I would focus on opportunities that pay well and build skills or relationships that could lead to bigger opportunities later. For example, I might do freelance business consulting for small companies, which pays better than driving for a rideshare company and also gives me insights into different industries and business models. The key is to think of these immediate income activities not just as ways to pay bills, but as investments in your future earning capacity. Every client you work with is a potential reference, a potential source of bigger opportunities, a potential long-term relationship. Simultaneously, I would start building what I call the scalable income track. This is about identifying opportunities that can grow exponentially, not just linearly. I'm talking about businesses, investments, or income streams that can produce more money without requiring proportionally more time. In 2026, the biggest scalable income opportunities are in digital businesses, technology services, content creation, online education, and global remote work. These are areas where you can start small, prove your concept quickly, and then scale rapidly if you find something that works. But here's the crucial part that most people miss. I wouldn't try to build a scalable business from scratch while I'm struggling to pay rent. That's a recipe for failure. Instead, I would use my immediate income activities to fund my scalable income experiments. The gig work pays the bills while I test business ideas. The third thing I would do is something that might seem counterintuitive when you're starting from zero. I would begin investing immediately, even if it's just $10 or $20 at a time. Not because those small amounts will make me rich, but because investing is a skill that takes time to develop, and the earlier you start practicing, the better you become. Most people think they need thousands of dollars to start investing. Wrong. You can start with fractional shares, index funds, even cryptocurrency with pocket change. The amount doesn't matter in the beginning. What matters is developing the discipline, the knowledge, and the emotional control that successful investing requires. I would start with the simplest possible approach: broad market index funds, dividend aristocrats, maybe some Bitcoin. Nothing fancy, nothing risky, just basic wealth-building assets that I can add to systematically as my income grows. The goal in the first year isn't to get rich from investing. The goal is to develop investing habits and knowledge while building capital. Now let me get specific about exactly how I would generate income in the first 90 days. This is where most people fail because they think too small or they don't execute fast enough. When you're starting from zero, speed matters more than perfection. You need cash flow immediately, not eventually. The first income stream I would develop is high-value consulting or freelancing based on my existing expertise. And here's the key: I would charge premium prices from day one. Most people starting from zero think they need to compete on price. That's backwards thinking. That keeps you poor. Instead of trying to be the cheapest option, I would position myself as the premium option in a specific niche. For example, instead of offering general business consulting, I would specialize in helping small restaurants optimize their operations for profitability. Instead of general writing services, I would focus on creating sales copy for technology companies. The more specific your positioning, the higher you can charge and the less competition you face. General consultants compete with everyone. Specialist consultants compete with almost no one. And specialists can charge 3 to 5 times more than generalists because they solve specific valuable problems. Here's exactly how I would find these high-paying consulting clients. First, I would identify 10 businesses in my local area that fit my ideal client profile. Small enough that the owner makes decisions quickly, but successful enough to pay premium fees. I would research each business thoroughly and identify specific problems I could solve for them. Then I would reach out with a very specific proposal. Not a general pitch about my services, but a detailed analysis of their specific situation and a concrete plan for improving their results. I would offer to implement this plan for a fixed fee, payable in advance, with guaranteed results. Most people are afraid to guarantee results, but that's exactly why guarantees work so well. When you guarantee results, you eliminate the client's risk, which makes them much more likely to say yes. And if you're confident in your abilities, the guarantee doesn't actually add much risk for you. The second income stream I would develop is what I call digital arbitrage. This is about identifying price differences in digital markets and profiting from those differences. In 2026, there are incredible opportunities in cryptocurrency arbitrage, domain flipping, social media account management, and digital product creation. For example, I might identify cryptocurrency price differences between different exchanges and profit from those spreads. Or I might buy undervalued domain names and resell them to businesses that need them. Or I might create social media content for businesses that don't have the time or expertise to do it themselves. The key to digital arbitrage is automation and scalability. Once you identify a profitable pattern, you systematize it so it generates income without requiring constant attention. This frees up your time to identify more opportunities or focus on higher value activities. The third income stream I would develop is education-based income. Teaching what you know is one of the fastest ways to monetize knowledge. And in 2026, the demand for practical education is enormous. People will pay good money to learn skills that can improve their financial situation. I would start by creating a simple online course teaching a valuable skill I already possess. Not a massive course that takes months to create, but a focused course that solves one specific problem and can be created in a weekend. Then I would sell this course through social media, email marketing, and direct outreach. But here's where most people get this wrong. They create the course first and then try to find customers. I would do the opposite. I would find customers first by offering to teach the skill in a one-on-one or small group setting. This validates that people actually want to learn what I'm teaching and gives me insights into how to structure the course for maximum value. Once I prove the concept with individual clients, then I would create the scalable online version. This approach eliminates the risk of creating something nobody wants and gives me testimonials and case studies to use in marketing the online course. The fourth income stream I would develop is strategic partnership income. This is about identifying businesses that serve the same target market I do and creating mutually beneficial relationships that generate income for both parties. For example, if I'm consulting with restaurants, I might partner with a restaurant equipment supplier to refer clients who need new equipment. Or if I'm teaching digital marketing, I might partner with a web design company to refer clients who need websites. The key is finding partners whose services complement yours without directly competing. Strategic partnerships are incredibly powerful because they give you access to established customer bases and proven marketing channels. Instead of building everything from scratch, you leverage other people's relationships and infrastructure to accelerate your growth. Now, while I'm building these immediate income streams, I would simultaneously be working on what I call my wealth building business. This is a business designed not just to generate income, but to create equity value that can eventually be sold for a significant multiple. In 2026, the highest value businesses are those that leverage technology to solve real problems at scale. I'm talking about software businesses, online education businesses, e-commerce businesses, content businesses, anything that can serve customers globally without geographic limitations. But I wouldn't try to build the next Facebook or Amazon. I would focus on profitable niches where I can become the dominant player quickly. Small markets are much easier to dominate than large markets, and once you dominate a small market, you can expand into adjacent markets. Here's my exact process for identifying and validating wealth-building business opportunities. First, I would look for problems that businesses or individuals are currently solving in inefficient ways. Manual processes that could be automated, information that's hard to find, services that are overpriced or poorly delivered. Second, I would validate that people are actually willing to pay to solve these problems. I would create a simple landing page describing the solution and drive traffic to it through social media or paid advertising. If people sign up for a waiting list or pre-order the solution, I know there's real demand. Third, I would create a minimum viable version of the solution as quickly and cheaply as possible. Not a perfect solution, but something that actually solves the core problem well enough that customers will pay for it and refer others. Fourth, I would focus obsessively on customer acquisition and retention. The best business in the world is worthless if nobody knows about it or if customers don't stick around. I would test different marketing channels, optimize conversion rates, and create systems to keep customers happy and engaged. The key to building a valuable business is creating systems and processes that can operate without your constant involvement. Businesses that require the owner to work 80 hours a week forever aren't really businesses, they're just expensive jobs. Valuable businesses are those that generate profit and growth systematically. Throughout this entire process, I would be documenting everything I learn and every result I achieve. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It helps me identify what's working and what isn't. It creates content I can use for marketing and education, and it builds credibility with potential clients, partners, and investors. In today's economy, personal branding and thought leadership are incredibly valuable assets. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. By sharing your knowledge and insights publicly, you build relationships with potential customers before they even realize they need what you're selling. I would use social media, blogging, podcasting, video creation, any channel that allows me to demonstrate expertise and provide value to my target market. The goal isn't to become famous for the sake of being famous. The goal is to become the go-to expert in your specific niche so that people think of you first when they have problems you can solve. But here's the crucial part. I wouldn't just create content randomly. I would create content strategically, designed to attract my ideal customers and position me as the obvious choice for solving their problems. Every piece of content would have a specific purpose in my overall business development strategy. Now let me tell you about the investment strategy I would use once I start generating significant cash flow. This is where most people who successfully increase their income make their biggest mistake. They either don't invest at all or they invest in the wrong things at the wrong time. Understanding how to deploy capital effectively is what separates people who build temporary income from people who build permanent wealth. The first rule of my investment strategy would be to never invest money I need within the next 12 months. When you're building from zero, cash flow is everything. You can't afford to have money tied up in investments that might lose value or become illiquid exactly when you need the cash for business opportunities or emergencies. So I would maintain a substantial cash buffer, probably 6 to 12 months of expenses plus working capital for my businesses. This isn't dead money sitting in a checking account. This is strategic liquidity that gives me the flexibility to act quickly when opportunities arise and the security to take reasonable risks with my other investments. Once I have that cash buffer established, here's exactly how I would deploy investment capital. 50% would go into what I call foundation investments. These are boring, reliable assets that compound steadily over time. Broad market index funds, dividend growth stocks, real estate investment trusts, government bonds, assets that might not make me rich quickly, but will definitely make me richer slowly. The key with foundation investments is consistency and automation. I would set up automatic investments that happen every month regardless of market conditions. This eliminates the temptation to time the market and ensures that I'm consistently building wealth even when I'm focused on growing my businesses. 25% would go into what I call opportunity investments. These are higher risk, higher reward investments that could accelerate my wealth building significantly if they work out. Individual growth stocks, cryptocurrency, startup investments, real estate deals, anything that has the potential for outsized returns. But here's the crucial part. I would never put more than 5% of my total investment capital into any single opportunity investment. This way, if one investment goes to zero, it doesn't seriously damage my overall financial position. But if one investment does incredibly well, it can significantly accelerate my progress toward financial independence. The final 25% would go into what I call learning investments. These are investments where the primary goal isn't immediate returns, but rather education and experience that will make me a better investor in the future. Small angel investments in startups, rental properties that I manage myself, alternative investments like commodities or foreign currencies. Learning investments teach you how different markets work, how to evaluate opportunities, how to manage risk, and how to think like a sophisticated investor. The financial returns might be modest, but the knowledge returns are enormous and compound over your entire investing lifetime. But investment strategy is just one part of wealth building. The bigger part is business building and equity creation. While my investments are compounding slowly in the background, I would be aggressively growing my businesses to create equity value that could eventually be sold for significant multiples. Here's the timeline I would target for business development. By month 6, I want to have systematized my immediate income activities so they're generating consistent cash flow without requiring constant attention. By month 12, I want to have identified and validated a scalable business opportunity. By month 24, I want to have that business generating significant profit and ready for either major expansion or potential sale. The goal isn't to build a business I run forever. The goal is to build a business that creates wealth and gives me options. Maybe I sell it for a significant sum. Maybe I bring in partners or investors to fund expansion. Maybe I hire management and move into a passive ownership role. But the business becomes an asset that works for me, not a job that I work for. Throughout this entire process, I would be constantly networking and relationship building. Wealth building isn't just about what you know or what you do. It's about who you know and who knows you. Every client, every partner, every investor, every mentor is a potential source of future opportunities. I would join industry associations, attend networking events, participate in online communities, anything that puts me in contact with successful people who might eventually become clients, partners, or investors. But I wouldn't network selfishly. I would focus on providing value to others, knowing that successful relationships are built on mutual benefit. Here's my specific timeline for going from $0 to financial independence. Month 1 through 3, establish immediate income streams and build cash reserves. Month 4 through 12, optimize those income streams while building my first scalable business. Month 13 through 24, scale that business while developing additional income sources and building an investment portfolio. Year 3 through 5, continue growing the business while building a substantial investment portfolio and developing additional business opportunities. By year 5, I would target having at least $1 million in combined business equity and investments, generating enough passive income to cover my living expenses. Year 6 through 10 would be about optimization and acceleration, selling businesses for significant multiples, reinvesting those proceeds into larger opportunities, building a diversified portfolio of assets that generate substantial passive income. By year 10, I would target financial independence with a net worth of $5 to $10 million. But here's what makes this plan different from typical get-rich-slow advice. I'm not just saving and investing wages from a job. I'm building businesses that create equity value and generate increasing cash flow over time. This approach can compress the timeline significantly because business equity grows much faster than investment returns. The key is to always be thinking like an entrepreneur, even when you're working for someone else. Every skill you develop, every relationship you build, every dollar you invest should move you closer to owning assets that work for you instead of working for assets that belong to someone else. Now let me address the biggest obstacle that prevents most people from executing a plan like this. Fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish, fear of taking risks. These fears are normal, but they're also wealth killers. Every successful person has felt these fears and acted despite them. The way to overcome fear is with knowledge, preparation, and small steps. You don't have to risk everything on one big bet. You start small, prove concepts, build confidence, and gradually take on larger challenges as your skills and resources grow. The plan I've outlined is designed to minimize risk while maximizing opportunity. Here's what you need to understand about building wealth from zero. It's not about having special talents or getting lucky breaks. It's about following a systematic process that compounds over time. The magic isn't in any individual step. The magic is in executing all the steps consistently over multiple years. Most people fail not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do what they know consistently enough and long enough for it to work. They start strong, hit obstacles, lose motivation, and quit before the compounding really kicks in. But if you're serious about changing your financial life, if you're ready to stop making excuses and start executing a real plan, then here's what you need to do right now. First, complete the skills and knowledge audit I described earlier. Figure out what assets you really have to work with. Second, pick one immediate income strategy and execute it this week. Not next month, this week. The biggest difference between successful people and everyone else is speed of execution. While everyone else is still thinking about it, successful people are already doing it. Third, set up automatic investments even if it's just $20 a month. The amount doesn't matter, the habit matters. You're training yourself to be an investor, and that training starts now. Fourth, start documenting and sharing your knowledge through content creation. Build your personal brand while you build your wealth. The relationships and credibility you create will accelerate every other aspect of your plan. If this video has given you a clear roadmap for building wealth from zero, if you're ready to stop watching from the sidelines and start playing the wealth building game, then smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. Share this video with anyone who needs to see it. Leave a comment below and tell me which part of this plan you're going to implement first. Remember, your current financial situation isn't permanent unless you make it permanent. With the right plan and consistent execution, you can build significant wealth regardless of your starting point. The question isn't whether it's possible. The question is whether you're going to do what it takes to make it happen. The opportunity is there. The information is there. The only variable is you. Make the choice to change your life and then execute that choice every single day until you achieve financial independence. That's how you win. That's how you build real wealth. Now stop watching and start doing.